that there is a social messaging that is missing. The level of conspicuous consumption it's become an untenable situation. The level of corruption that we're seeing has become untenable. And for me, the question is, we went wrong somewhere. But it does not seem to be stopping. If anything, it's getting worse. I really think that we have to start confronting our demons, so to speak. We have a wonderful constitution that our children don't know about. And what is that? How do you have a society where there's this brilliant piece of laws that protects them, that's for them, but they don't know about it, right? We have trade unions that are not sharing information with workers about their own rights. So I think that it's a function of education, education, education.
5 years ago, I, with Kumi Naidoo and a few of us who were activists, had this conversation, which has been going on for a decade. Where did we go wrong? And we thought that rather than having an intellectual discussion, because let's be realistic, we are all part of the top 5%. We don't struggle for a meal or a roof over our heads. And this is the dominant conversation in the country. It's top down. And there's no bottom up or encouragement of the bottom up, that the bottom has ideas, they have dreams, they have hopes, they know what they want. Can we start to understand that? So we were looking for a safe space to have intergenerational conversations on solutions to the problems that are both local and global at the same time. The elephant in the room that we're not discussing is the ecological emergency. The IPCC, the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change of the UN, is saying we literally have 12 years in which to correct the trajectory of humanity. Otherwise, there's no more planet for us, for our children and our grandchildren. This is what should drive us, the sense of urgency that we have. We are committing ecocide. We are killing our children.
I think that my experience of the past decade, and I think it is the decade of state capture, has rebuilt something that we left behind for a brief period in South Africa. And what it rebuilt was both a culture of fear and a culture of compliance right across society. And in the corporate sector, I think that the last decade has had the impact where two things. The one thing is that companies and company leadership have been able to say we comply. We're complying, and so we're doing what we have to. And the other hand has been this thing of, well, we don't quite know what's going out there and what's going on with government. And so we'll take a very transactional approach to our relationship with the rest of society. We're not going to step out. We're not going to go out on a limb. We're not going to do more than we have to. And no one's going to make us. And so I think that one of the unfortunate and very profoundly problematic things that we have to deal with if we're going to get beyond this culture of state capture is to find our agency again and to find our courage again.
It's about, when I opened my comments, I said that we are in a multidimensional world. We are no longer in binaries. We cannot only listen to ourselves. The solutions require more complex and more diverse inputs. So when we approach this as a paternalistic, us clever people, can find the answers, and as Jay said, exclude other voices and other realities, then it's a problem. So I want to come back to this one thing again. So for example, there's a solution to job creation in our country which is staring us in the face. It has other connotations because of the ecological crisis we have, but think of it this way. There are hundreds of thousands of people who want to work. They are working, but government is arresting them on a daily basis. They are not being allowed to put food on the table. Why? Because they're protecting the interest of a corporate structure who's flighting that same money, that same profit out of the country. Is not benefiting our society. And yet government and corporate South Africa prefers to do that as opposed to empowering hundreds of thousands of people to work in a more ecologically sustainable way. That is the problem. Those are the issues we need to deal with.
Thank you.
I would like to end by saying, from where I'm standing on behalf of the Tuma Foundation and the Social Justice Chair at Stellenbosch University with the M, we think we need both to rethink the system, but also to fix the problems at hand. Because it's called comfort to a mother of a child who's struggling with stunted growth because they're hungry, to say, we're going to fix capitalism, just hang in there. By the time we fix capitalism, the child would be stunted and the next generation would also be poor. People survive because they work hard. With enterprising communities, we are currently piloting at a place called Madonsela. Since 1994, the only thing they've gotten is their democracy dividends are toilets. And whilst they were complaining about toilets, they got more toilets in the last few weeks again. But they survive because people do hustle in one way or another. And what we need to do is to open up those spaces, meet them where they are, work with them as partners. And therefore that narrative, yes, among us there may be takers, yes, among us there may be people with an entitlement mentality. But if our people were only sitting with an entitlement mentality, this country would not be running. As Papua Tech, I found that who is upholding the public health system? It's volunteers. Many of them don't get a cent. More recently, they started paying them 2,500 rand, 3,500 rand. For me, I just believe, as Ethiopians believe, little by little, an egg will walk. As long as I do what I'm supposed to do, which, like Jay, I put my money, initially 500,000, but by now I don't know how much have I put into the Tuma Foundation just to make democracy work for all. This Enterprising Communities project, we haven't received a cent from anyone. My speaking engagement money just goes into that. And so it's about, what will I do? What will I ask you to do? What are we going to do? But above everything else, how are we going to walk the talk? Thank you.